we need a topic.
No. I mean, Joey got his degree this last year.
Yes,
last
no,
year?
to the 2016.
Yeah.
2016.
Wow.
So how's that been?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, what are you doing with it?
Oh, I work with people with autism
Autism.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He works at an
How did-
autism house, right?
Oh,
at a
wow.
house. It's a company that has several houses.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
In that area.
Santa
That's
Barbara,
pretty cool.
Goleta.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I have my friend works with them too. With the group of kids that have autism
Mhm.
at the office I have.
Oh.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's called Hope.
Focus. You could focus these.
Nah, we don't need no.
All right, fine.
Focus.
Forget it.
No, man.
Focus is for people who want to look pretty. We have all bad acne, so autofocus is our friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what other? Okay, so the other thing, you guys, is do you have any films you wanted to turn into the film festival? Because today's
Which film
Tuesday.
festival?
The one for Oxnard.
Wait,
I have
there's
nothing
one?
that's completed yet.
Why don't you just say what you have?
Why don't you just send something right now?
Yeah. Like,
Why don't you just send this? What?
It's all raw. I mean, literally, it's raw. Like I could send them the 4 hours of raw footage or whatever.
well, send them maybe 3 minutes of it. Just like splice it up here and there. You know
How
what I
old
mean?
does it have to? Can it be?
It could be as old as you are. I don't think they care.
Yeah,
if anything, just
mine is
tell
40.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mine is 3.
Yeah.
I'm just saying today's the due date, and let me know.
Wait, is it this is the final date?
Yeah, well,
is like
this is
the
supposed
last-
to be the last day.
the last deadline,
Yeah.
right?
And I spoke to them not too long ago. Actually, I spoke to them earlier today, and she said if we could just turn in what we, even if it's a work in progress, it'll just do better. It'll look good because they'll have a bunch of films lined up.
Yeah. Did they have
Progress.
a good turnout so far, or
From what I hear, they could use more films.
Okay.
Especially, and then the thing is like they've seen our work in the past. So, Junior, do you have a film coming out? Yeah.
I could edit
like
one.
5 films you're working on.
I could edit something for them probably.
I
Yeah,
have
that's-
a recut of yours.
Oh, well, no, don't show me
Which
that.
one?
No.
Which one?
Of the Neon Girl.
Ah!
I took it from
What the
35
heck?
minutes and it's down to like 10 minutes now.
Oh,
What the heck, dude? I want to see that. I want to see the hypercut.
We
Hypercut.
shall not speak of.
That's funny.
Okay, tell us about the turmoils of watching your baby change over time, Junior.
I haven't seen it change. You mean Young Girl?
Yeah, Neon Girl.
Well, I mean, I've worked on a different cut too. I worked on a shorter cut, but I looked at it and I don't know if I can show that.
Yeah.
It's just there's just so many changes that I would do.
Yeah.
That I would have to reshoot. That's how I would re-edit it. Just reshoot.
When we're
it.
done with this, I'll show you it. It's like
Yeah,
I'll show you the recut.
I would love to see it.
I took out basically half the cast.
What did you? How did you? Wait, did you cut to?
I had the Blu-ray version. I had only a mixed down version, so I basically took out all the music.
How did you take the music out?
And audio too. Like there's no.
Oh.
Basically, it's a silent film.
Oh,
Interesting.
Yeah, there was no way to cut around it. Otherwise, you'd hear the music.
yeah.
And also that way, looking at it visually, or with the audio, there's no way to recut it.
Wait, what's with the music?
There's only one story there. Like you can't recut it and rearrange it.
And how did you? What music? Yeah. Well,
Well, I went online and got like
But what's wrong with the music that was on there?
everything he had was copyrighted, or not everything, but a lot of it's copyrighted.
Why'd you do that, Junior?
if you can give me money, I can.
Because it made it feel like how you wanted it to be.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
But by stripping it out, recutting it first, and then applying the music to it, I had a whole different feel for it. You know what I mean? So I was able to approach it differently and not see it for what it was, and made it something else. That's all.
I could see it in Junior's eyes, like it's just difficult for him
Oh.
to hear his baby being played with.
No, you could play with it.
No,
You could play with it.
No, I have to.
Oh yeah.
Whenever I can.
Yeah.
But No, I've actually been thinking about that film, and obviously there's a lot of mistakes that I did with it,
the
and
thing is, every film has mistakes.
yeah. But just I'm actually working on a new one.
It's all a work in progress.
Yeah.
I think it's an evolution.
Exactly. And I feel that way, and I started feeling that way in seeing your movie, and just the way movies are now in large form, or even just other people's movies on YouTube or online or anything. The future of it is not to be, because now you can be that way, not to be attached to it.
That's
and
the
let
thing.
the fans take it and change it if they want.
That's
Right?
the thing.
Because you're going to have your vision, and let's say you put it out there, and you're like, okay, this is my vision of it, but I'm going to let you have access to the raw. I'm going to let you have access to, just, and maybe the best takes of the raw, not 100% of the raw, but just a portion of it, and say like, yeah, if you want to recut it, I keep my credit, you keep your credit of it, but you get to say like, this is a Julio re-edit.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like almost like what is it? Choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
Possibility.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
and that's almost, because then it makes it also like an interactive experience. It makes it to where the fans feel like they're more a part of the story rather than just watching the story. They feel like they could.
But instead of giving a 2-hour movie, you're giving like a 32-hour movie.
Well, you give
And
them,
can charge
you give them. Well, that's if you want to go that route. Yeah, you say here's the 2-hour version. Pay me my $15. But if you want to get the raw, it's like
Yeah.
$50 or whatever, and then
Yeah.
they get the whole raw. And they could imagine being able to recut Star Wars or be able to
You
recut.
can do what the PS4 did.
I
where
do.
you like microtransactions for every little tiny clip you want to keep adding.
Well, that's fine. But the whole thing is
No, I
not.
mean that's gonna be the next level. It's gonna be like making your own recuts of everything.
Yeah.
That's the next.
And get rid of the idea of copyrighted and this, because that was the thing. That's what I thought
Yeah.
about with that was it was unfair that the music you couldn't use it.
Yeah, and you know what I did learn? One thing I did learn, and it's something I kind of knew, but it's got reinforced, is how important it is to have the music that you want, that you originally want, that you picture in your head, and that you really like, and that fits the scene. And I think one lesson I've learned is go with the music that you like and make room for your budget for your music.
Mhm.
Because if you don't do that, music is so essential for that. And if you look at directors that I like, they have good music. They have either popular music or a score or something that they really care for, and that's what they saw for that scene.
Yeah, you can buy the copyright for the festival rights.
Yeah.
You don't actually have to have it. But you can't when you make a DVD.
Yeah.
But this is what had to happen though, is that when we first started doing our short films, if I go back to some of those short films, like one I did with Julio, I used popular music, right? I used music that was meant for that, and one of the he said in my eyes like the struggle with Neon Girl. It wasn't about someone cutting to it. It was about how the dissatisfaction with how it came out in terms of music, and then I think back, why did I like some of my short films that we did early on when it was just me and a couple of friends more than some of the new stuff? And I look back and it's like, oh, it's the music. I had so much, because before social media, Facebook, and all that stuff where you have to get the copyrights, all that kind of brought everyone that was creating stuff, obviously with other people's music.
Right.
But that's not to say that that's not
The drink.
Purple drink.
Not onto the
that's not to say obviously
money.
you want to give credit with where credit is due, but then all the stuff that we see on film, they're using music that the director didn't do the music, or most likely the director didn't do the music. It was done by someone who scored it or a popular song.
Right.
But it helped.
Kind of want to comment a little bit. Well, right now, or a lot of things is like regurgitation, nostalgia, rebooting things, making what's it called, triple parts, part 5, part 6 of the same things.
Yeah.
I think it's really easy for us to, I don't know, to kind of like piggyback on pop culture. I think that, I mean, even if we're talking about the Tarantino, what's it called, model, a lot of it is based on piggybacking on pop culture. And that's definitely a route, and I think that it's very easy to kind of like, package a film that way. And I think that's kind of like what we're talking about right now. It's like, music automatically is going to like package it. Like, your Neon Girl was based on the 80s. So it's kind of like impossible to not have those songs in there and not to feel like you're recreating that time era. But now my question comes is, how can we get out of the nostalgia game, or better yet, how can we remix it where we're not so like dependent on
We're not
those-
we're not standing on giants.
yeah.
You know, we're not going, well, yeah, my movie is great because you have a John Williams score underneath there.
Yeah.
Of course it's going to look great because
Yeah.
you take any movie, like even like Star Wars or something, you take that music out that everyone's familiar with, that is pop culture already, and take a Tarantino film, take the music out of there, the whole movie changes. You might be playing it in your head, the music, but if you didn't know the music that was there, it changes the entire vibe of it. Whereas, if you maybe had like an original score or something more not in the zeitgeist, not out in the popular culture, where you're like, because I hate the way it is now. Commercials do it where, you know, you think of a song and it's tied to a product now, and you're like, fuck, I want those two to be separated, and not tied together anymore. Because now you can't use that song in a movie because you're like, I'm watching this song or this movie and it has whatever song in it, and I'm thinking of Dr. Pepper, or I'm thinking of and they're not separated anymore. It all intertwines and becomes like a nostalgia like loop, and it's trying to feed off of that over and over again. And I think the only way to do it is to open up to, because that's where I got the music for what the recut of it. It's all open source. It's all copyright free. Use it however you want. It's Creative Commons. It's a licensing that they have now for where you can release writing, music, movies, anything under a Creative Commons license, and on some of them you could have like certain levels of what you're allowed to do and how you're allowed to remix it. But from that, you could find great music and stuff.
I mean, part of it was feeling guilty because when you realized it was something that was taken away, again, going back to social media, this whole process when social media started, music, which was one of the tools of the many tools that you use to paint your film, right? Actors, music, money for props, whatever you name it. But music was like a major component of it when you realized when you didn't have it anymore, or you could use it obviously, but you can't do anything with that film. You could show it to your friends in a room, but you can't put it anywhere. So then that's taken away, and I realized how much I depended on that. So I felt guilty saying, was it the stuff that I was doing, or was it just the song that was doing it for me, right? Like these beautiful images were going really nicely with this beautiful song that I selected from the radio, from a cassette. And then that's taken away, and then you feel almost like naked that it's not working anymore. So then you feel like
now I want to
like,
see Lonnie's cut.
Yeah.
Now I'm like kind of like I think that's gonna be the deciding factor.
Yeah. Well, the first love movie that we did, with the breakup movie that I made, the first cut I showed, it had copyrighted music, and everyone said, "Do not change these songs. These songs fit perfectly with this film." And some of the words were actually telling more of the story than what was actually there. But then I knew I couldn't use it because these were popular singers. And then I asked Mr. Julio, "Hey, do you know anybody?" He recommended a heavy metal band. I think they were heavy metal, right?
They were.
And they didn't really want to, take too much time on it because they were doing it for free. So they gave me a CD of theirs, and then they wrote down like some tracks that they thought would fit in the scene. And I went back to them. I'm like, I cannot use any of these. These do not fit. These are like all electronic. This is a love story. This is a heartbreak. So I go, can you guys actually write me something that's original and matches more what I want? So I sat in their garage and I sat there and I told them like exactly how I want them to play and
Nice.
so and then sometimes
So did you literally score your own theme?
I scored it and I said, okay, you know, this one part on the guitar, can you just kind of like repeat that?
Yeah.
So I'm actually watching them play it and making it match. And then when that was finally done, that cost me $75. So, but then,
versus 75,000.
when I showed that in the film festival, they were saying that original track fit just as perfectly as you know, they had no idea that I had another track in mind. You know?
And it's not, you know, it's not really to say like it's not to say that how hard it is to get music and what should we do because we need that music but we can't use it anymore. It's more to say like how do we make those connections with those musicians, with the bands? How do we make it easier, right? It's a long process. It's a big process of the movie. The one I did with the surf one.
Right, exactly.
I think I was fortunate to have met someone that helped me connect with those bands, and then those bands provided the perfect score for the film I did.
Cynthia Rodriguez.
Cynthia Rodriguez helped. She's a local artist.
She's bad.
And so she works with bands and So I guess that process it's a longer process. Obviously, it's not as easy as before because you could just select anything.
Right.
But it's getting used to how do we facilitate that process so it's like a seamless thing. But that's part of your film that you can reach out to people and then they understand how hard the process is because then they can be more open to using their music for less than, you can't.
I think that's where the whole, once again, as we're learning, as this is a what to call work in progress, all the bringing all the different elements together. I think we learn that it's a bigger collaboration, and one is patience, one is persistence. The other thing is having an open mind. But the thing is, it comes back to that pop culture versus creation. What new culture are we creating? What are we bringing to the pop culture that's not already there?
True.
I remember a long time
Instead of recycling, right? Recycle.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of upcycle.
Yeah. I remember a long time ago, back in high school, Power 106 played a lot of house music and stuff like that, right? And I remember one time
Props to Power Tools.
Power Tools.
Power Tools.
And I remember Junior saying, we were discussing about how, as you said, how do they know what songs to pick? Because they play a lot of great songs. You're like, and we go like to a record store and you're like, where the fuck do they find these songs? And the thing is they weren't picking the songs because they were great. They were creating the pop culture of it by saying, this is a good song, and this is a good song. And I mean, you hear it. Once you hear it, you're like, yeah, this is good. But you have to have an inert or skill or whatever you build of like being able to hear something and knowing this is going to work. This isn't going to work. But not being afraid to try something else. Because I'm pretty sure if we really were to go back and listen to all their hours, probably like half of them were shit. And you're like, I don't want to listen to it. Yeah, but they would play it, hit feedback, and go, it's out. And then you keep going. And for us to have, you create a pool. Like you have Cynthia, people like that you talk with, and you keep in touch with of saying, okay, I need this kind of music. And if they can't do it, fortunately, leverage online. You go on online communities, because like the ones where I got it, I could download the music, or if I wanted to, you could email the band directly and say, hey, could you make this? And if you want to arrange a barter or pay, to have them do it, they could, if you like their sound, but it lets you, the internet lets you get in touch with everyone, or you can talk to people just locally of just like, but you do, you have to like curate and go through and go see bands that are doing original music and say like, hey, can I have your CD?
Right.
And then you take it, even though you might not be using it for music now, but you have a full library, because now
You might need that sound.
You might need that sound eventually. And you're like, I love this song, but I need an instrumental of it, or I need, whatever change.
Slow it down.
Slow it down. So you get their CD, and then you put their business card with it, and you get, or if you can, get CDs with.
Well, CDs are the business cards now.
Yeah, right?
What's a CD, you guys?
What is it? Well, even now you can, because of the CDs, you could say, give me, if you, since you know the band or you're talking with them, give me your instrumental, give me your separated tracks.
Right.
Everything. So, then we could remix it ourselves to make it fit stuff. But it's, unfortunately, the way, because of social media and because of their policing abilities that they can do, and it's not humans detecting it, it's fucking machines detecting it. So
you can't hide.
You can't hide.
If you put something out there, it's spotted.
It's spotted, yeah. Or even if it doesn't get spotted, you can't go that long or that far, because if you do, like,
especially if you want to monetize on it.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to, once you get to the monetizing point, boom, you're out. That's it. You're done.
Mm-hmm.
You stop. And it's unfortunate that we can't do that anymore. But it's a growing process now. It's like, okay, we needed the ability to edit at home, and now we all can, right? Everyone can edit at home now, no problem. And that came, and then we're like, okay, we need the ability to manipulate photos and that, or imagery that we're going to put on these videos. Now we can do that.
Right.
And now the next step, because things are getting taken away, technology wise, or not technology, but social wise, we need to start looking at it as, hey, we can make the music, or we can manipulate the music, or get music from other people and tailor it how Joey did, sit there and tailor it to what we need. And it's another avenue of production now. It's like, oh crap, now we got to do this now. But that's what a production is.
That's exactly what a production is.
Yeah, it's you're creating every little.
So I'm gonna throw another thought, and this is because you guys have been in this game for a while, which is, and I think that this is very important, especially like once again going to the Tarantino example, is connecting the generations. He was able to do it in the 90s, connecting with what they called at that time Grindhouse, which is basically all old cinema, and people had forgotten about it, and he was able to bring it back. Now basically we're like older filmmakers. That guy, that guy, this guy. And at the same time though, like in the time that we've grown up, it's almost like I would call it the Beastie Boy era, where it's like we're old but we're still young in heart and style and whatnot. But at the same time, how do we make those connections? Like, how do we connect the newer generations instead of just keeping that gap or keeping that like, oh, this is for like. I don't think that it should be just seen as like this is one genre for older people, there's a genre for younger people.
Yeah.
I think they should both be influencing each other. So how do we go about doing that? How do you guys see that for like the next, let's say, 10 years, Lonnie?
Well, I go back to where I was saying about with the younger generation coming up, a lot of it's the stories that are being told, but a lot of those stories are, there's only so many stories you can tell, right? You can tell them different ways, but there's only so many different type of stories you can tell. So I think a part of that is offering, because the young kids now, right? It's all about like the experience of it more than just consuming it, than just sitting and watching it. They want to, they want to have some sort of big event around seeing a movie, and again, being able to, let's say, recut it or having it, out there to where they could put their own spin on it. They still will, like the original that you cut,
right?
But if they can put their own thing on it, I think that's a way that's. It's not necessarily a genre or type of film that'll connect to the youth. It's the way we're presenting it.
I mean, you could talk about, like you said, changing the music, turning memes or GIFs out of your imagery.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Junior?
Were you referring to like how do we make films that about our generation and that they can connect to, or how do we make any film that they can connect to? I don't know if that is that.
Well, let's take both examples. Let's first look at films that we create. How do we make them have mass appeal?
Yeah.
Joey, what do you think?
Well, the thing is, the Grindhouse didn't really exist until he did it, right? Right. So,
okay.
I mean, the original, right? But bringing it back was
Right.
his own thing. No one.
Yeah, no one was bringing it back. Yeah, it wasn't
And,
Right.
Yeah.
But nowadays, all the newer films are like when they're getting awards is your ability to recreate a genre,
Right.
Yeah.
Or imitate it.
So are you saying to go vaudeville? We're just going to do all vaudeville?
But the thing is, they don't understand why it was special to do that Grindhouse again, right?
Yeah.
So, but nowadays it's like, oh, I copied something, right?
Yeah, it's the
so
remix
I should
culture.
get an award too, right?
Yeah.
But what is this? It all depends on the story you want to tell and like why you feel that's important, and what makes people original is when they do something original. So why there has to be a reason why you're bringing that specific thing from your past into the nowadays. You know, like why do you feel it's important to bring that back? Not just to bring it back just because you want to get attention. Because the thing that Hollywood's doing now is they're using familiarity, right, to make money and to bring people in the audience, and then they're using disguises of what they call sequels, which are really reboots or rechanges.
Well, and with that, they're doing that.
Yeah.
And by doing that, though, they're isolating their audience and saying, you can't recut this. You can't redo that. You can't make a meme out of this. You can't make a fan film of this.
Yeah.
This is only our product, even though we're rehashing
films
a past that isn't even our product, you know?
See, like
reclaiming.
Grindhouse, you're allowed to discuss it.
Like Star Wars.
Yeah. But like Grindhouse, you could analyze it and discuss it. But nowadays movies, you're not allowed to discuss it. You know, you cannot analyze it. If you are, we're gonna say you are not. You're not a good fan.
You are not qualified to speak on that.
Yeah. Just because we made a bad movie doesn't mean you get to say anything. But like Grindhouse, you could discuss it. Right.
Yeah.
And Star Wars and other, but the new Star Wars you can't.
That's a whole 10-hour conversation about Star Wars with Joey.
Exactly. But as long as you make a film and you allow it to be open for interpretation, and you also have to have a meaning yourself.
It itself
Of
has
course.
to.
Like you can't just like it's whatever you want.
It's 2 hours of raw footage.
Just be effing around all day.
Maybe I should just send the raw footage into the film festival and just say, there it is. That's it.
Did you guys hear there was it was online, but someone found like a pair of glasses and a you posted that?
Yeah.
They found
glasses
go
on the
ahead.
floor at a museum, and then all these people.
Oh yeah. They were all like, what is this?
So Lonnie's film,
I was gonna say, so I was thinking about like, how to attract the young audience.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I think there is if you want to talk about, first of all, for me what was going on?
Oh, he's
not working.
He's went.
I have a view that films, Hollywood system is not producing as many good films as they were.
Yeah.
That's I don't
That's
know if you guys have that
100%.
opinion, but
I agree with you.
Since the
I
mid
disagree.
'70s.
Hollywood is at its prime.
and so
Your footy.
we have to look at there's this business model to make billions and billions of dollars making a movie, right? So there's that. We would have to change that in order to change the outcome of what we're seeing with the films, right? I mean, if you go in Oxnard, we have the Oxnard Film Society, which we're seeing films from different countries,
Right.
Latin American countries, and you watch these
Good
films.
film.
And,
Shout out to George
they're
Sandoval.
George Sandoval is from the Oxford Film Society is bringing these films out for us to watch, and they are, the storylines are subtle. They go in so many different directions that you don't know what the outcome's going to be. So that's
The
for
films
me.
have a life.
Yeah, they have a life.
Yeah.
You don't know where the outcome's going to be. You guys know this. Tarantino's one of my favorite writers.
Tarantino sucks.
One of
Just kidding.
who's
one of the
Tarantino?
things that he said about writing.
I think he works at he owns a pizza
is
shop.
that you have like this sort of ending in sight for your film, and then you have the storyline. It can go different directions. Like it doesn't mean it's gonna go this way crazy different direction, but
Right.
it can go different directions depending on the situation you're putting them into, and so it's kind of like doing its own thing. Maybe you have this ending inside, maybe you don't, but at least you are allowing these characters to go in so many different directions. These big budget films, you have like this formula. Obviously.
Oh, yeah.
There's a formula,
Oh,
right?
Checklist.
So there's a formula.
It's moving
I
my
literally
numbers
have fallen asleep watching some of these films, and I feel like, is there something wrong with me? Right? And is there something wrong with me? Why am I feeling this way? If again, the guilty.
Well,
like I'm a filmmaker. I should like every film.
now.
Yeah.
So I feel like, why am I not liking these films? But then I watch films that we watch in the theater in downtown Oxnard, and I'm there, and I'm really, really enjoying these films. And guess what? You go to these films in downtown Oxnard, you look around, there's people in their 60s, 70s, 80s. Do you see any young people? You don't see any young people. So why are young people not watching these films? Because there's so much money to advertise to these young people for these big films that they're creating this culture of like, this is cool to go watch these big films. It's cool to go watch these films. And
It's
hey,
the
they
experience.
do they love these
experience
films?
of
I guess so, or else they wouldn't be watching them.
I think that's
Right,
where
but-
that's
but-
where I go back to your director or master Tarantino, because he was able to pull it off. He was able to, I guess because he did bring in that pop culture element, but it was still an older culture. But he was able to bring it.
He was able to bring it in with his own style or spin on it
Yeah.
to where it was an homage, not a literally. I found the 10 things that work to
Right.
make these type of movies.
Right.
I'm just going to do those 10 things.
Yeah.
That's what they do now,
Yeah.
right? They find the 10 things for the formula and go, okay, yeah, we're just gonna, because Tarantino makes like a nice filet mignon and the nice
Oh,
garlic
yeah.
potatoes, and he brings the garnish
yeah.
and puts it all together.
yeah.
Whereas Hollywood now, it's McDonald's.
Oh,
They're like boom,
gosh.
boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom. Yeah, you'll eat it because it's there and it's right down the street. But the better food
You'll eat it
is
because it's you're right. That's right.
Yeah.
You'll eat it because it's there. You're driving. You got to go somewhere. You look at there's a drive-through right there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go there. I wish I could go there, but I don't have time.
See,
yeah.
I'm gonna go there.
I don't have time.
Yeah.
See, all
Joey,
the best
yeah.
films like the foreign films and the independent stuff, they're not at the same multiplex
Oh
that
yeah.
the other ones are.
Yeah.
And so it's easy to see the most popular movies, and you're like, okay, that's convenient.
Yeah.
I will see this.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah,
Well, yeah, that's the thing. That's like the death of the cheap cinemas, the older dollar theater, $3 theaters are kind of like dying off because everyone goes to these bigger. There's no place to. It's weird, right? You got the internet, you got all this stuff to distribute. We got all these ways now to distribute that never have existed before, but it's like slowly, in a social way, being taken away. Of like no one goes there.
you go to a normal multiplex, and they so happen to be playing a good independent film. And you say to your friends, "I want to see that one." And your friends go, "This is the crux of society." Your friends will say, "What's that? No, let's not see that."
Yeah.
Right? Because what's that? It's not popular. I don't know it. It's
Yeah.
not familiar.
And then again, and also,
I don't want to risk
people don't
seeing this
read
bad
as
movie,
much anymore.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
If
They
it is
don't
bad
read.
or if it's good.
Yeah, exactly.
They just don't
That's
read.
that's when you like physically unfriend somebody, Joey.
Yeah.
Physically unfriend them. If they
They're
do
standing
that.
right next to me. What do we do?
You just tell them you're unfriended. I'm gonna go.
outta here.
You grab their movie ticket and just rip it up before they go in. You are not allowed to see
I
movies.
guess how do you make those films cool then? We would have to start off with how do you make
It's not about being cool.
Well,
you got to change
for
what
some people it
what
is.
people
Yeah.
find as cool, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Things okay. I think you just gotta be a big old hype man of it.
Yeah.
In the sense that like let's simple example. Being a nerd was not cool at some point. what is it called? Comic-Con now is like the coolest thing in the world.
Oh yeah.
When it first
nerds
started,
are not nerds. Yeah.
nerds are not nerds anymore.
Yeah.
So we got. It's almost like you have to be that rebel culture.
Yeah.
Where you're gonna like basically embrace
What-
it and hype it.
And that's the thing. I think a part of that is that works to do that by having like a centralized, not just place, but like movement of like, okay, we're all moving. You know, all the nerds had the Comic-Con, and everything kind of moved that way. Everything drifted that way, of like, because
Here's the thing about Comic-Con.
Yeah.
It's comics, right?
Yeah.
So when it first started, it was comics. The only reason it's popular now is now
because
they
it's
make movies
beyond.
about them.
Yeah.
Disney bought Marvel, and now
Right.
we have
no,
nothing but Marvel.
But
films.
it was happening before they
Yeah.
bought Marvel. It was already big enough to where.
So you would only have like
But
a
it's-
couple
it's
geeks
true.
watching
Yeah.
one,
It's true.
Well, you're right.
Horrible, like,
Hey,
very low
hey.
budget film.
Yeah.
Right?
They might be nerds. Don't call them geeks. Just don't be disrespectful.
Yeah, but it's that was what was making it popular then was that one comic book movie that was very low budget and no one ever saw, right? And a couple geeks nerds would be going to the Comic-Con, right?
Yeah.
But most of the time they were only going there for the comics.
Oh, yeah.
And now, since Disney has
Yeah.
Marvel and it's
Yeah.
all over the place, and now DC's competing.
Yeah, it was spread and got
They
bigger.
forgot
And
that these movies are based on comics, and that's
yeah.
what made them popular.
Yeah.
And it's the familiarity aspect. That's why they leaped on it and said, "Oh, we're going to make these comic
it's
books."
it's the nostalgia
But
recycled
once
stuff.
they stop making
Yeah.
comics, like in a couple of years, that's not going to be popular anymore.
Well, that
Exactly.
Because,
Yeah.
like, how is the fame of a Marvel film?
Well,
gonna
that's-
keep
Well, that's
Marvel
exactly
superhero
it.
movies
No one
going.
and no one's looking at that.
It's gonna
The fact
become.
is,
It's gonna become
They're all
virtual.
going to become outdated.
if you were
It's
to
all
look,
VR next.
Yeah.
all the comic
really
book.
think that's what they're building up to.
Yeah.
That's why they're making crappy movies. They're trying to get people out of the theaters and
Into virtual.
freaking thing on their face.
Oh yeah.
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 Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
And when you have that on, they come into your house and they steal your wallet.
Yep.
You take it off and all your furniture and clothes are gone. You're like, how did they take my shirt?
The Disney executives are in your house and showing you stuff.
He's stolen.
Yoink! Take the last
With
one.
suits.
Other thing to study about history is that everything that eventually was cool it doesn't become cool. Everything that is like. It almost takes like a decade before things gets recognized. It's almost like if you're like a person starting something, like you're not gonna get props for it. You're gonna, especially if you really believe in it, you're gonna be passionate about it.
Yeah.
And then 10 years later, someone else is gonna say, "Hey, punk rock is cool all of a sudden." And now,
I've been doing this for 10
now-
years.
You're like, dude, now that it's like being seen everywhere, is it really cool? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the first woman that wore a dress.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's a part of what is going on now. Is like I'm not young anymore, so I'm not in touch with the youth as much. Not that I touch youth. I'm just not in touch with the youth.
Yeah.
When you're 80, you're gonna look back and be like, I was so young.
I was so
Well, that's the thing. Exactly.
But like the fact that there are not as much as it used to be. There aren't as many fringes on the edge things.
Yeah.
Everything is whatever you're into is quote mainstream now.
Yeah.
No matter what you're into. Like you could be a nerd, or you could be goth, or you could be a cholo, or you could be all these things.
Yeah.
You have everyone's accepted.
Exactly.
And it's all like celebrated. And you're like,
As long as you get shot, you get filmed with 4K.
Yeah.
You could be whatever you want. You could be a homeless person.
Yeah.
And you're like a star on 4K video.
Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are like blinded by quality. They're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, look at that! That's so much cleaner than this other old '80s movie." I don't want to watch that '80s.
Well, it's now,
I want to
yeah.
watch this HD thing.
Yeah, it's
because
quality over
because
substance.
society
now.
tells
Yeah.
me this is better than
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah.
And it's new, and it doesn't matter if you made a film, an actual film now, and put it out in theaters, and put marketing on it, and it's like done in an old '80s style, bad lighting
Right.
and everything. Just because it's new, they would probably look at it. But they would.
There's that movie.
The Mandy.
They would hypocrite.
Mandy? Did you see Mandy?
Yeah.
No, I didn't see. I was going to say
Oh, my
the
God.
mid '90s one, but yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Oh, mid 90s?
Yeah.
Mandy was completely that, but it was it was really, really good.
Yeah.
In a
See,
crazy way.
that's what I was going to say about Quentin Tarantino. People keep forgetting. Yeah, he has music. Yeah, he has all these the style and everything, but the stories are competent. and you could analyze them.
Oh, yeah.
And the
That's his
characters
thing.
are-
Strip all that
That's his
away,
thing.
and it's all
Yeah.
still there.
Like,
Yeah.
you could take the music out, and it's still an interesting
Oh yeah,
film.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, you could watch a Tarantino
music
film without
only,
any
like-
music, and it's
yeah.
still a very good film to
The
watch.
music kind of see the
Yeah.
thing about like Stanley Kubrick and Quentin Tarantino.
Uh-huh.
The music that they use is very sarcastic
Yeah.
to what the actual film
Yeah,
is.
Right.
Yeah, because it always ends on a happy note. Like when the credits start rolling, they always
Yeah.
put
Singing in the rain.
But
Yeah.
it kind of makes it somber. That happiness thing
Yeah.
makes it somber. You know,
Uh-huh.
and I think that's.
Oh,
that
what about
really
when they
makes-
use when he used the what is it, the Disney song in at the end of what's it called, Full Metal Jacket?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's as
Yeah.
cynical as you get.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's I think what it is. A lot of I wanted to say directors, but the way that like in a way for me, I want Hollywood to die what Hollywood is now,
Yeah.
or just to get out of the way. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to die. Just get out of the way and let us do Hollywood.
Yeah.
Because now they've taken away the ability for a director to play and direct the audience's emotion.
Yeah.
Because they know how to. That was the whole point. That's why they picked their songs. That's why they picked their shots. That's why they
Yeah.
picked their actors and
Yeah.
everything. And now it's like, it's so the movies are done so much by a committee and by checklists that there's no more playing. I mean, they play with the heartstrings, but because they're following the formula. Everyone gets scared when a loud sound comes up.
Right.
It doesn't
Right.
mean you made a scary scene.
They don't build up the emotion.
Yeah,
they
they don't
just
build it.
tell you what you're supposed to feel. Like this character's sad right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And the
But they
character
don't
never
tell-
even looks sad
But
when they do
don't
it.
show you the scene of the parent dying or something,
Yeah.
right? They just like he's sad because his parent died like 5 minutes ago. And I'm like, why didn't you show that?
Yeah, go back and show that.
That's where I had to go back to the new Star Wars, and that's
Yeah.
exactly with the
Yeah.
formula that I feel. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't feel genuine whatsoever.
And when they forget to put emotion in it, they add a little scene. They're like, oh yeah, he's sad because of something that happened 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I never thought I would say this, but I stopped watching Star Wars.
Yeah. Well,
I would
okay.
literally just.
It is not Star Wars. It's
It
just
isn't.
the title,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's not. You
Yeah.
know, like it's
Not my
like,
Star Wars.
You can't say that I stopped watching.
Hey,
Star Wars.
that's a good shirt. Not my Star Wars.
You're
Like not my
feeding into
war.
Yeah.
You're feeding into what they want you to think is that it's Star Wars, and this is why a lot of people defend it because it has the title Star Wars. Like, how can you not like Star Wars? Anything that's Star Wars is Star Wars.
You were
I'm
right.
like, no, it's not.
10 hours. You were right. 10 hours.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh,
10 hours.
but okay, but at least they put a woman, a strong woman character.
Leia.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Leia is
Oh,
a
they have a
goddess.
black character. Billy D. Williams. I'm like, they just repeated exactly what has already been done. And then they said, this is new. Ignore everything in the past. Everything in the past doesn't matter.
Well, they even wrote it. The line of the guy says the past, destroy the past, ignore the past, destroy the past, kill the past. That's it.
No, wait.
What- you know what? It was such a bad line. We don't even remember the line.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
they say it in the line in the thing.
So I recently, well, a couple of things. I watched one of the newer ones.
Yeah.
But because I got it at the library for like $1.
Yeah.
And this is the cool part. I watched it in Spanish with the Spanish dub on it. So that's pretty interesting. It's like a whole different experience. You gotta check it out. You gotta check it out that way.
Well, that would be interesting. 'Cause even, I mean, yeah, they're trying to translate it. Was it dubbed in Spanish?
It's dubbed in Spanish.
Well,
So,
yeah.
like, the emotion is there, but it's a different emotion than the actor's portraying.
Yeah,
So
es más estupendo. Le ponen, y ahí viene ya. Te vamos a tocar. Vamos a atacar con la fuerza. Blah, 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 blah. So
Yeah,
it's like,
right?
it's hilarious, dude. It's freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
It's a meme. It's like it's a meme of itself in Spanish.
You know what? It's almost like if ever you edit a movie and you're like, oh, damn it, I didn't do this right. Just redub the whole thing in Spanish.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just change the whole
Neon
thing.
Girl.
Yeah.
Neon Girl.
Neon Girl entirely in Spanish.
Muchacha en color.
Because you can even say different things because it doesn't have to match.
Nope.
It doesn't have to match.
That's it. We're gonna turn
It
Neon
doesn't even
Girl in
have to match
Spanish
the
version.
timing. Like it could go longer than the scene a little bit. You know, you're like, wait, he's still saying that, but it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay.
Junior, yo soy el papá de tu papá de tu papá de tu mamá de tu mamá.
Tu tío.
Looks like a planet.
Yeah.
It does.
What's playing on the Regency? Shout outs to the Regency $3 show every Thursday. They have a retro film.
That's why I got Thursdays off.
Yeah.
Oh, so you don't know? Maybe we should go later.
Yeah, I forgot what's. I think Back to the Future might be there yet.
Oof.
And that's the thing. I think a lot of it can be fixed by people not falling for the advertising and like saying, you know what? Yeah, I don't like that movie. I'm not going to go help make it earn $2 billion because Hollywood's not going to stop. If you're making $2 billion, you don't stop.
This is
You don't stop.
thing I'm going to say. This is the problem with movies nowadays and why they keep staying popular.
Yeah.
Children and girlfriends. Because
And parents.
Yeah.
Parents.
Nostalgic
That's
parents.
grow out
Shout out to my brother.
in a movie, right?
Yeah.
But you gotta see that movie, right?
Right.
What's there? Anything. You have to watch anything, right? And then you see it, and then you know how many people are going on dates, going to the movies, right?
There's more kids.
Well, okay, so
line of theaters
Yeah.
that is like a cheaper way to watch these films, and obviously it's going to be less money for those films, but in the long run, there's going to be more money for the films that are lower budget than the big blockbuster films, but in the end they're going to have more money. Because there will be those spaces for these films.
Well, I think that's the thing too, that
we need those theaters.
yeah, they tried in.
I know
What's that?
Every city across the U.S. has at least one or two old theaters that are sitting there, like on the boulevard, like Oxnard, like the Vogue, that they're just sitting. Actually, they're empty. Someone should just buy those theaters.
Yep.
Upgrade them and do the non, not necessarily the low budget, but the non-blockbuster films.
Well, I think they did try. I think it was in Seattle. They tried this thing, and I think it should have worked and been expanded everywhere. They had this thing where you had a website, right? And you could go in and you could vote for any movie you wanted to watch. Now they had a list of movies, because they could only, you can't play whatever you want, right? But they had a list.
Up and coming indies
and stuff, right? And people would come in and they would vote. And every week they would change their lineup to what people voted, saying they voted by buying the tickets.
Right.
And if your movie didn't get picked, they would refund your movie or give you credit for it. But then you would go see that movie. Then the next week they would just recycle, and they would have it was literally any movie that you wanted to pick, even if it was, you had to submit your own movie to their site. And if you could get enough people to buy tickets to your movie would be seen at this theater. And if they did that everywhere else and had it to where, local people or indie people could submit their stuff and push it. Because the one thing the theaters, I think, now are doing wrong, and it's going to bite them in the ass as it goes forward, is they have a limited time that they show a movie.
Yeah.
Because technically, because Netflix is showing, people will want to see Airplane now as they did back in 1970, when it came out.
Right.
And you don't have to necessarily remake the movie to put it back out again. You can literally put the movie back out again and make money off of it without having to spend a dime.
Exactly. Netflix could purchase these theaters. And so that it's not a big, risk for for a company that buys the theaters. So Netflix could buy the theaters, and then they can use that venue to also show some of their stuff. While at the same time showing these, smaller, or not even showing the ones that are films. They can create a need for that, just like they created a need for these, all the new stuff that you see on Netflix. People, were they asking for that stuff? They probably weren't even asking for it. All of a sudden, there's a need for watching these, these films, these shows. And before, no one was asking for them, but now they're creating this. Now they're creating opportunities for smaller directors to go out there and do that. So they can do that with films. I mean, they're doing that with films already on Netflix, but I'm saying the theater release, and going to
explain this to me, because why is it every time there's an HBO series or a Netflix film, they always show people at a premiere for that film?
Because sometimes they do premiere it at a theater. Some of the Netflix movies, when they release them on Netflix, they're also released on a limited release, so it can be considered for Emmy nomination.
Yeah.
Because in order to be considered for that, you have to have it released in so many theaters for such amount of time, and that's it.
But the guy who runs the Buenaventura, the old theater.
Andrew.
He's always telling me that it's. Well, I talked to him once, but he was saying that it's a big problem trying to keep that theater running. And especially trying to purchase those films. Because he showed RoboCop, and then I said, "Hey, can you show RoboCop 2?" And he's like, "Do you have $200?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll pay $200 to show that movie."
Bow. I've been saving it just for this.
Because he was saying he would not show a film if he thought
he's not going to make
one would
it.
show up. You know?
But that's what I'm saying. That's why, like, if he had how they did in Seattle, where if he had a list of the movies that he could get access to, and because people now are used to, because the way that what is it, Fandango or whatever, you buy your tickets ahead of time, and so like he could set it up to where, okay, I have these 100 movies that I know I have access to. It doesn't have to be the greatest, and it doesn't have to be all Hollywood movies. It could also be independent. It could also be like even smaller than independent, but people would pre-purchase the tickets so they know we're going to show these 3 movies so people are going to come.
I mean, that also has to do with the audience and the people in Seattle. I mean,
Seattle,
go to Seattle, there's like...
But the thing is, once you put that thing on Fandango, tourists would actually fly over here just to go see that film.
Exactly.
It was online, but right now they don't know about it.
You know what, though? I would say that about the Seattle thing. We drink Seattle coffee all the fucking time now. They make it. They have a way to get it out to where it becomes culture. It becomes.
But that's the thing, though. You gotta be. What's the word? When you're starting something new.
Pioneer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That you have to be willing to.
What was the word?
An entrepreneur.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's another one I'm thinking about.
No,
there's
like
another word.
I know. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, no, it's not that word.
No. It's like it's almost like a strong word. Like
it's a word a crowd would shout out.
It'll come to me afterwards.
We'll shout it out at the very end. That'll be when we end the show. You're gonna yell it out, and we're gonna end the show.
Oh, we're gonna end this show? No, we're not. We're not ending this.
Oh wait, we're on.
We still got 9 hours, right? We still have a lot to talk about Star Wars.
Yes.
This is the Twilight Zone. We're stuck on a forever podcast, just forever. We can never.
This is
never
called
stop.
Forever Podcast.
In a galaxy far, far away.
I'll walk through that door, and I'll just end up right back in this chair. And be like,
We'll start from the beginning.
I was leaving.
Yeah.
A 3-hour tour podcast.
I like the little setup because you could put this in the back of like a truck, and we just drive it.
Heck yeah! Going back to a couple,
Like, you see the background, like going back
to a couple points that we made, which was how do you make it cool again? How do you make it next level? We talked, and you brought up something that you kind of randomly said. You said vaudeville, because we're talking about, well, how do we take it back? How do we take it back? But talking about vaudeville, I think that's, and I think someone else said that, like, you have to make. Oh no, Junior said it. You have to make it an experience, or for the youth. You got to make it just not a screening.
Oh yeah,
it's like an event.
Yeah.
Well, it could be. I mean, so throughout the film history and cinema history, there's always been these like new technologies that come out.
Right.
It's like that's going to take away the cinema.
Color.
That's not going to take it. The
audio.
Like it's going to ruin the experience. But I think ultimately,
I want Technicolor back.
Like human nature is to congregate amongst a group of people. So I think the cinema experience is always going to have a need, although there's other forces that are moving that away from us. But I think when you experience a film with a group, with a gathering, it's a different experience, and you memorize it better, and then you can talk about it afterwards.
It's always better to laugh with an audience than by yourself.
And it creates this like a culture. It's like
See, but here's the thing. I was telling Lonnie the other day. I'm like, you go to the theater, and go buy your ticket, go buy your popcorn, go into the theater, sit in this theater, watch the film, and then leave. And as you're walking out, go to your car. Have you looked or talked to anybody? The only time you interact is when you guys all laugh together. But you purposely like make a tunnel vision.
But that's how the experience is. It's not meant for you to be.
What is the culture there? You're not. It's like.
What's what when you go watch a sitcom live and people are laughing or a comedy?
Well, when you go watch a play,
it's not there to be social. You're just there to go and leave.
No, but that's the thing is it's a social experience, not a socializing experience. It's not a party. It's a social experience that everyone together is watching. Everyone together goes and watches sunset.
That brings up a good question though.
Yeah.
Because why then are we like? Why then do we like that experience? If we're not really socializing, like Joey said, but there is something there that we like. The presence of people, like little.
Well, like when people always say, like, I want to go see this on the big screen. They don't ever say, I want to see this in the theater. They just want to see it larger.
Sometimes though, when you say, there are those things, but
so
sometimes
I bet you if the theater was just one seat and a giant screen, people would still go.
Oh yeah, but at the same time,
but I think they would prefer
it. Doesn't feel the same because I've been there by myself.
So they're going to make it all an individual experience.
And there's some films that I've actually liked. I've seen some films like some of the Pixar films. I can sit by myself because I can enjoy that. But then there's other films where like I want there more people to come in because I want to see this.
Especially they have a lot of social commentary. And you're like, and you all kind of soak it in like that. Like that film, Sorry to Bother You. Watching that in the crowd was crazy. Also, the other one by Key and Peele guy.
Oh, yeah.
Watching that with a crowd. Oh, my God. That
what
was
it
insane.
I mean, it's kind of probably why social media is the way it is, right? Because it's socializing in an anonymous way. I don't have to come in and say, hi, I'm Lonnie. How nice to meet you. Hi, Joey's your name? Okay, I'm Lonnie. Hi. You and I, all the three of us are going to go into a movie. We don't know each other, but we're going to experience something together. Yeah. And because you're laughing and I'm laughing, I feel more reassured that, you know what? In the social scheme of things, I'm okay with everybody else. I'm common.
Yeah.
I'm not, it's not like, remember Joey? I mean,
it's like a real life laugh track.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
Well, then that kind of answers our question. You tap into,
but laugh tracks are overused.
You tap into the through social media. That's kind of obvious, right? We all kind of know that social media is like a way to tap into the youth.
Yeah.
But if you have a film, I mean, that's why sometimes when studios are looking to see if they want to fund you, they look at who you have as an actor. Is that person on social media? How many people are following that person?
Yeah.
So, but if you don't have that person,
Charles Manson is in your film. He's got quite a following.
Approved.
You have to do that. You have to tap into the into people that way. But you're competing with the big studios with all that money. They're tapping into it in ways that we don't even know because they're doing so much research in how to do that.
Oh my God, yeah.
And it's like, how do we compete with that? Right?
Well, the question isn't so much compete as much as really just impress them, because eventually, I mean, that's pretty much where you're going to be going.
That's in being a pioneer. That's what, like, if you do something that is different than
Maverick.
everyone. Yeah.
Maverick. There you go.
Yeah.
That's the word.
Yeah.
Good night very much. See you tomorrow.
Get back on my horse.
Yeah. But if you do something that's different that everyone else is going to want to copy, you're a pioneer. You did something different. Right? That was out of the box. And that's what is not around anymore. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, that's what's going to get people into the seats, and people are going to talk about it. That's why, like, independent films get word of mouth, is because, whoa, you guys got to see this.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
right. But it takes one person to go see it. So
exactly.
You got to have that indie art person that goes out and sees it, and then goes back and tells the rest of the people.
Right, and but again, it's that's why
Jesus' first follower.
Someone had to do it.
Hey, that guy Jesus, he could do cool stuff. You guys should follow him.
My children, you have to see this film.
He has no followers, though. He has no followers online. He has no followers.
He only has 13 followers. What the heck?
13. And those guys are a bunch of fishermen.
Yeah.
Is this a movie about fish?
Hey, let me tell you a story about that John told me when we were fishing. You know.
Okay, if he writes a book about it, then we'll talk about it.
We'll make it
It's
into a
got to be
movie.
at least a 2-part book. It has to have 2 volumes.
I prefer smaller stories, but Moses wrote a really cool one just on a couple of rocks. I mean, it was
I'll
easy to
wait till the
read.
movie comes out.
You can take the Moses story. You can make that tweet form real easy. Tweet it out.
Just tweet it, yeah.
boom, 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 boom. Everyone will get it. Everyone will get it.
Okay, going back to the once again the vaudeville part, and also the idea of like, do we take people to theaters? And I want to give also credit to Junior and to Cynthia, because they did exactly that. Instead of taking people to the theaters, they had a screening at a bar with the live act along with it.
Yes.
So that to me, like that's creative juice going. That's
Yeah.
like not taking it out of the box and putting it in a really cool place where people will go, hey, I'll watch your crazy movie.
Yeah.
I had a great time. We were all partying and this and that, and it just hit the spot. So that was really cool.
So
How
maybe
many
that's the
times are you gonna
idea
have to
is-
do that?
What's that?
How many times are you gonna have to do that? So every film you do, you have to have a band.
Not necessarily.
No.
Some,
Yeah.
You're having the bands are playing, and then you just
Yeah.
screen your film along with it. You make it part of the package.
Pioneering thing, and it's like it doesn't necessarily have to be repeated.
Oh, yeah.
Like what's next? Like what else? What other kind of thing we could
Well,
do?
but that's what it is. It's the idea maybe is to not. The goal for a lot of the movies, especially the smaller movies, maybe isn't getting it into a large multiplex theater,
Right.
but is creating these little micro theaters,
Yeah.
or micro moments, if you
Yeah.
will.
Microtransactions.
Yes, microtransactions.
Microtransactions.
And but that's the thing. You get people into those to see that and to experience it that way. And yeah, so then you go from one little thing to the next, and instead of having to, but then yeah, it lives on other ways, beyond. That's where it like comes out and gets some word out, and then you.
And that is a way to present your project, because no matter how good or bad your film is, if it's not prepared for the audience, like if you don't prepare them, if you I'll give you an example of like, I just met you today and I'm like, I want to show you a film, and you didn't even ask for it.
Yeah.
You might really like the film, and in its in its original form, and you watch it on a screen, and someone talks to you about it. But if I just came up to you and showed it to you, and you watch it, and you're like, okay, okay, I like it. But it's like your mind gets prepared for the film.
Okay, so you're saying, yeah.
So it's a way, a venue
Like
like
a
that,
primer to
it-
like.
yeah, it's like you prepare them. That's how when studios promote a film, when there's a trailer, when there's a poster, when there's that, you're getting the audience trained,
Conditioned, yeah.
to watch it and to like it.
Yeah.
So how much of that is imposed on people with these big studios, like when they're going to watch these big films? How much, trailer after trailer after trailer on Instagram or on YouTube or on Netflix or whatever.
Well, it's built in now because of the nostalgia thing. By grabbing a previous thing that everyone already kind of knows, the backstory of it, they've already created that.
And tricking people into thinking it's a sequel and it's really a reboot.
Oh, well,
Yeah, tricking your mind into thinking
yeah.
it's a good story,
Yeah, it's good.
but it's not.
Yeah.
It's a amazing production. The story sucks,
Yeah.
but you can say it's a good story.
Yeah.
Because all the
Again.
stuff that you were like,
Yeah, again, people are blinded by quality.
Oh, yeah.
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 Blinded by quality. Like a hot girl.
Yeah. The thing about movies is this is the scam. Is you have to pay for the movie before you see the film. Right? You put all the advertising, you get people in there, they paid. No one is really going to take the time to get their money back.
Well, not only that, it's very hard to get your
But
money.
nowadays, that's what people should do. Like Last Jedi, when that thing was over, everyone should have been standing in this huge line. Give me my money back. Give me my money back. You know?
Well, even with that, like if you look at Netflix and some of those streaming movies, there's a lot of ways to say you like a movie, there's hardly that many ways to say you do not like a movie.
Yeah.
Vote it down or thumbs down or yeah, you gave it 1 star, but you gave it 1 star. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, no, I want to give it a negative star. So it takes
This is
away
why
from
you
the
have to vote
stars.
with your wallet and just not
Yeah,
see the film.
just not do
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Have you guys seen the previews to the new Joker?
Oh yeah, with
Joaquin.
Joaquin Phoenix.
I've only
Yeah.
seen like behind the scenes stuff. I haven't
It looks
actually
good.
seen the trailer.
It looks pretty freaking good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like
Unnecessary.
well that and the thing is like if you see his last say 3 films, they're all independent films,
Yeah.
and they all kind of like our versions of what he is now. It's almost like we've been making all these independent films, and we're gonna make the pop film.
But you're just being the same
same dude.
person and all
Yeah,
and same
that's
approach.
exactly it, dude.
Yeah, because you're right, because the one he did where he had the hammer.
Yes,
Yeah.
you were never really here.
Yeah, you were never really here.
You
You're
saw
right.
that?
That
That was totally Joker.
You're right.
He was completely the whole
Yeah.
relation to his mom.
Yeah.
You know,
They
him
just
being,
recycled-
doing a vengeance story, but
Yeah.
but it was almost like the artsy version of the Joker.
Yeah.
So now they're like, and then he's like, okay, everybody's like, dude, nobody saw these films. Now we're gonna totally
Yeah.
we could just do the same film and call it Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
CGI, so smile on his face. Dang.
That's all. That's all.
I think
What do you think?
I think Joey should have played the Joker. Look at that.
Oh my god.
Look at that smile.
Oh, that's scary because that came on camera. It's scary because you're almost out of frame, but when you did that, you actually went down and got into frame more. Like you know what they're seeing.
Okay, so last words. This has been our first unofficial podcast of us, and we could talk
This is
forever.
actually the very first video podcast. This is the first
Wow.
time doing this.
Wow, and it worked like a charm. I want to thank everybody who was present because I know we have a lot to talk about. I think we should do this more often.
Yes.
Yes.
Instead of just talking to each other, we should probably just at least document it because
Yeah.
it's kind of like interesting.
Yeah.
So any last
Were you
words?
recording?
No.
Oh, you weren't recording?
No, I wasn't.
I was gonna say.